Hi everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres. And in case you're wondering what I'm doing this morning, I'm working with sweet potato slips. If you've been following this for a while, you know that we grew sweet potatoes for the first time last year. And it was a real adventure, and not always in a good way. But we learned a lot, and this time we're trying to avoid a few of the problems we had last year. Now, our first problem last year was we weren't finding any guidelines anywhere on how long it took to create sweet potato slips. We knew we wanted to try growing them from scratch rather than buying them, because we only wanted to try growing a couple, and it just didn't make sense to spend, serious money on 15, 20, 30 slips when all we wanted was a couple. So we took a couple of sweet potatoes just like these, and we stuck them in, some toothpicks in them to suspend them in water. You put them, so the way one of the other YouTube channels described it was, they're like ladies, the bottom should go down. So you can see it's pointed at one end and it's larger at the other end, and that larger end goes in the water, because this is the end that's going to produce, this pointed end is the end that's going to produce the slips. Now, back around Thanksgiving, we had bought a bunch of sweet potatoes. We always try to, because sometimes we have trouble getting good ones. In the process, we wound up with a couple that sort of got stashed because we didn't need them at the moment. And when I looked at them again, I discovered that they were sprouting, and we said, we hadn't planned to start sprouts until January, but there was no way we could pass it up, because last time I would guess it took us at least 2 months to get some decent sprouts, at least 2 months. And we just couldn't risk that again. Hang on, I've got a cat knocking at the door. Okay, Miss Isa, come on in. Oh, stop with the squish. Okay, come on, hurry up, all the way, hurry up. Anyway, there was just no way we could risk being late with our sweet potato slips again. So we just went ahead and stuck them into water right away. Now, they looked pretty much the same when they started, but this one here has really gone gangbusters. This one has a few little slips, and we're keeping it in water, and we'll see what happens. This one is really gone crazy, and this past week, all of a sudden, they went pfft, and we decided we really had to start pulling them off, because we had actually planned to pull them off when they were a little shorter. I am simply going to take these pieces right where they connect to the sweet potato and pull them off. Now, last year some of our slips had roots when we pulled them off. This one doesn't. I'm actually going to pull off a couple of the bottom leaves, because it should put out roots right where those nodes are, where the leaves came out. And I'm just going to stick that in water. That's all I'm going to do. It's interesting to see, like as I said last year, there were roots at each one of the slips that did come out. Now, this one doesn't have roots yet, but you can see where it's going to. Let me see. Right here, those little white knobs on there are going to all produce roots. And I'm going to do the same one with this, same thing with this as I did with the other one. I'm pulling off the leaves and I'm plopping it in the water. And that's all there is to it. Now, our adventures in sweet potato plants last year were done in buckets. We didn't have any place good to plant them in the garden, and we were experimenting for the first time last year with growing a couple of different things, potatoes and regular sweet potatoes in buckets. And our sweet potatoes, we did get some good sized ones, but we also got a lot of them that were kind of funky. They were long and skinny. They were tasty, but there wasn't a lot to them. And I've seen other people produce those too, so I went looking for why. And the answer is too much nitrogen. I had added fish emulsion to those because I was concerned that there might not be enough nitrogen. Well, the net result was too much nitrogen. And if you give sweet potatoes too much nitrogen, you will get a bunch of long, skinny, funky sweet potatoes instead of the chunkier ones that we all want to have to roast and mash and all those other kind of things. So hopefully we'll have some success this year. I'm going to take off most of these guys, and then we'll see if they sprout some more. And I'm just going to keep doing this because when it comes time to actually plant them, I'm only going to plant out the healthiest ones. I won't have to plant whatever I've got. Most of this growth, at the beginning of last week, the growth was like this, and then it just went crazy. So it's like, okay, we definitely need to beat this guy into submission a little bit. So I hope this gives you guys some ideas. If you have a sweet potato at home that's already sprouting, you can just go ahead and set it in water the same way as we did with a couple of toothpicks to hold it up. Produce your own slips. What I liked about that was it gave me the ability to say, okay, that's enough or that's not enough. Whereas if I was buying slips, not only did I have to buy them and ship them, and shipping any live plant materials is a real problem to where we live. We have no mail service here. We have to go into town, but sometimes they won't ship them by mail. They'll only ship them by UPS. And we actually had or FedEx, we actually had a set of asparagus roots show up tied to our gate. Now, our gate does not have a number on it. Our gate does not have a name on it. The FedEx driver just guessed which house it might be and tied them to a gate. And by pure luck, I had been out during the day and came back and found these things on the gate. They were in a clear plastic bag in early spring during a warm spell. We could have easily roasted those things to death if I just hadn't had the pure luck of coming back at that moment. So getting live plant materials here is always a problem, and getting them here in good condition is an even bigger problem. So growing our own was something we really wanted to try. And we hope this inspires you to try growing your own. Even if you don't, if you decide to buy slips, remember, don't put too much nitrogen. They need a little bit to get started, but don't keep hitting them with the nitrogen. Hopefully this will inspire you. And until next time, have a great day. Don't forget, if you like this kind of crazy stuff, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification button, because there's going to be lots of gardening going on in the next few months and all kinds of other crazy stuff too. We even take you guys on trips with us sometimes when we go places. So have a great day. Bye. I have a helper this morning. Isa is helping me. And as you know, if you're a cat owner, cats are not always as helpful as you would like them to be.